So now we've got our magazine catch and our bolt catch installed in the lower receiver. Next is the fire control group. That consists of a few parts: trigger, hammer, hammer spring, trigger spring, disconnector, one pin each, one for the trigger, one for the hammer, and the disconnector spring. The first thing we're going to do is put the disconnector spring in the trigger housing. There's a little hole milled out in the trigger housing right there. That's where the disconnector spring goes. This spring has a big end and a little end. The big end goes in first, down into that housing. You push it all the way down so it kind of snaps into place. And it sits just like that. Now we're going to put the trigger spring on the trigger. The trigger spring has a closed end and an open end. We're going to put it on the trigger so it sits like that. So you work those two closed loops in the trigger spring over these parts of the trigger. When you do that, it's important to make sure that when you're done and you've got the spring on there, that the closed end is in the right place. When it's on there, the closed end needs to be up here on this angle, not down here. Next, we're going to install the trigger with the two springs in it into the receiver, and when we do, we're going to drop the disconnector down on top of it. The disconnector sits, there's a little notch in the back of it, that sits right over top of the disconnector spring, and then when you push down on it, those holes line up and the trigger pin gets driven in through those holes, and that's what holds it all in place. So you push the disconnector in, and then you got to push everything down so that your holes line up. And you take one of your pins, the trigger pin, just like that, and then when you push everything down and line it up, you push the trigger pin in. Once you get the trigger pin started and it's in there through the disconnector, it'll slide all the way in and be flush on both sides. So you can see the pin on that side, you can see the pin on that side.